Yo, yo, Barghani, Islam, Salam, Hetepu, Rahubat, Gino Laconinani, Chief Noble, Bande Elami, back again for another video. Today's video, we're going to be discussing the situation with the FBI and black extremists, alleged extremists. So we're going to just look at a little history, and we're also going to look at what's happening, current events dealing with the group, the Uhuru movement, and make these correlation and connections with the seeming like historical elements of the black movement and the FBI. So before we get into any of that today, check out the Moorish Washita Indigenous Services, indigenousservices.webs.com. It is your one-stop shop for needs. You can also go here and check out a lot of the product we have dealing with ship. So let's check that out, shall we? All right, so let's see, moving right along. Also, check out all of my books on Amazon.com, but in particular today we're focusing on the journal book right here. If you can see it, this is your African-centered, African design journal for all needs. For writing journals, writing your spiritual journal, writing journals for work, anything that you want to represent with your culture. This would be a great book. So you can get one in hardback or paperback. 200 pages of college rule. So write it down. All right. So moving right along, man. Basically, what we're going to talk about today is, and I thought I'd choose this. Now, this article is like from 2020. So, and it's interesting because today we learned about what happened with our sister. That was Breonna Taylor. Four officers were arrested finally due to her being killed a couple of years ago. And so finally, like I said, today they have arrested, the FBI had arrested 4 of the police officers. But this article is, I wanted to start with this article so we could jump into this, because this is very telling of what we got to talk about today. It says the FBI targets a new generation of black activists. Okay, so we're used to being targeted by the police and by the justice system in general, for just wanting to be equal. So we're going to look at this a little bit. It says throughout its history, the FBI has viewed black activism as a potential national security threat. It has used its ample investigative powers not to suppress violence, but to inhibit the speech and association rights of black activists. And its reaction to the protests following the killing of Breonna Taylor and George Floyd shows little has changed. So when we talk about the FBI, most of us, first person we think about in the FBI, and when it comes to disarming and destroying so-called black people, melanated people, we think about J. Edgar Hoover. Okay, so it says in 1919, J. Edgar Hoover, director of Bureau of Investigations, targeted the Black Moses, which is known as Marcus Garvey, for investigation and harassment because of his alleged association with radical elements that were agitating the Negro movement. Okay, so Hoover admitted Garvey had violated no federal law, but the Bureau, the persecutor, the precursor organization to the FBI, they infiltrated Garvey's Universal Improvement Association with an informant provocateurs and undercover agents who searched for years for any charge that they could justify his deportation. So this right here is just a precursor to what we're talking about today. The FBI has used similar tactics to disrupt and discredit and neutralize leaders of civil rights and anti-war movements of the 60s. One of them is the Cointelpro. So this is important because Cointelpro is a major key alert, okay, for y'all. If you don't know, for the younger generation who don't understand what Cointelpro was. Cointelpro targeted everybody, okay? It said it targeted Dr. Martin Luther King, Stokely Carmichael, was specifically designed to prevent the rise of they call it Messiah, but the rise of a black Messiah who could unify and electrify the militant black nationalist movement. So they like to, put that militant on there. It says rather than to prevent any violent acts they might perpetrate, the methods included informant-driven disinformation campaigns. Okay, and this is what you'll find happen with all the organizations in the 60s and the 70s. Okay, we're talking about from SCLC, SNCC, all them to particularly used with the Black Panther movement. Okay, and so this is a history of what the FBI does. Okay. And it says, unfortunately, the guidelines were weakened over time, most severely in December by the Bush administration. Okay. So there's been a, ebb and flow. There was a time when, you had J. Edgar Hoover, which I truly do not like and can't stand. Like, I would spit on J. Edgar Hoover's grave if possible. Okay. He was when it comes to melanated people, he was an enemy to the people. Okay. Particularly melanated people. So now we're in an age where, we got the Black Lives Matter, which whatever you think about Black Lives Matter, I'm not here to discuss Black Lives Matter. I'm not, here to like them or dislike them. But the fact that you got these movements, activism has, started to spring back up again. We've come to this actual thing. Now the reason why I brought this up, y'all, is because of what happened, what has just happened recently, okay, within like 3 or 4 days ago. 3 or 4 days ago, the FBI conducts a coordinated raid against the Black Liberation Organization. Okay. The FBI's history is marked with violent attempts to neutralize Black organizations, as we just looked at. Some worry that the recent raids on the Uhuru movement is another such attempt. So this article is from August 2022. So let's look at this. Let's go into this, y'all. So look, on July 29th at 5 in the morning, they like to get up in the morning. You got to, they get up early in the morning to get us. The U.S. Federal Bureau, or the FBI, conducted a violent raid on the home of O'Malley. Okay. He's the chairman. Now, you guys follow like Dead Prez, the group, and all them. A lot of what they talk about is from the Uhuru movement. And they talk about O'Malley a lot, but he is the chairman of the U.S.-based African People's Socialist Party. Okay, and in St. Louis, Missouri, a video was posted the next day. Okay, was it Yashitala claims that the FBI deployed flashbang grenades, carried automatic weapons, destroyed the property of his neighbors, including smashing windows, handcuffed himself and his wife. Okay? They also claim, Brother O'Malley also claims that the FBI refused to show him a search warrant and that they took the cell phones and all devices from their home. It was only a matter that Yeshetala learned that the raid on his home was only part of several raids across the country, okay, against that was affiliated with the ASP. That same day, the FBI raided the Uhuru Solidarity Center, also in St. Louis, and the Uhuru House in St. Petersburg, Florida, both locations of the Uhuru movement led by the African People's Socialist Party. Okay, according to Yeshetala, the FBI also raided the APSP radio station, Black Power 96.3 FM, and reportedly detained a prominent leader. The raids come now. Check out why they raided them. They said these raids came as a result of the Justice Department indictment of a Russian man, okay, who the U.S. alleges funded and supported black organizations as part of a foreign malign influence campaign against the U.S. The indictment never specifically names any organization, but refers to the U.S. political group number 1 in St. Petersburg, which allegedly partnered with him. Now, Yeshitala, he says, ain't no Russian been responsible for what we face every day in our lives. Okay? He says the U.S. is going to say that the Russians somehow had to tell us that we were being oppressed. The U.S. is telling the world that black people don't have enough sense to be able to lead our own struggle. But that's not true. In response to the raid, Ajamu Baraka, leader of the Black Alliance for Peace, tweeted, as predicted, black radicals are targeted again for not falling in line with U.S. imperial agenda on the Ukraine. The APSP has been critical of the U.S. involvement in the Russia-Ukraine war. Attorney and organizer Kamo Franklin stated that this is a Cointelpro operation, one meant to destroy black organizations. Okay, so we talked about Cointelpro was an organization from 1956 to 1971 that was used to neutralize alleged revolutionary organizations against your oppressor. You know, they wanna address whenever melanated people want to address any type of atrocities or any deprivation of rights, they are labeled as militant. Okay. If anybody knows about what happened with Fred Hampton, okay, very great example of how law enforcement targets prominent melanated people who are trying to bring change. Okay, if you watch, they just had a movie last year or so about Fred Hampton. That was I watched it. It was really sad, but it was based on the true story. If y'all can remember, if somebody put it in somebody put that in the comments, okay? If you can remember, cause I can't think of it off the top of my head. It's I can't remember, but anyway, Fred Hampton was gunned down assassinated in his own home. Occurred at 4 a.m. So what I'm saying is, they get up really early in the morning and they come in there and try to get you while you sleep and take you out. Because usually around 4 or 5, that's probably when you've fallen asleep. So uh, just just looking at this, man, COINTELPRO is the central reason why that many U.S. prisoners who were former black revolutionaries in the 60s, the 70s, and 80s are in prison today. Example, Mutulu Shakur and Mumia Abu Jamal. If you guys know them. If you don't, go check them out. We're not going to get into them today, but please check them out, okay? But this is, I wanted to discuss this because this was crucial news. And for us to we got to keep our minds that, things haven't changed. A lot of times we think that things have changed and that we're living in the same era of time. We're like, oh, the 60s and the 70s, oh, that was then. We're living now. Even in my mind, at sometimes I have fallen victim to this. Like, oh, we can move better now. We can do more now. Due to social media and things of that nature. But at the same time, we're always being watched and being scrutinized and being picked on and a lot of times being jailed and brutalized by the government. Okay. And it has not changed. Okay. This is prime example of COINTELPRO in 2022. Okay. So just wanted to bring that information to you guys, do some more research on that. Please like the video and leave some comments. Please share the video and subscribe to our channel. And if you'd like to donate, please donate. We'll have all the links in the comment section or the description box, and we will check with you on the next video. Until then, Tuta Nana. Stay strong, brothers. Peace.